Hi, everyone. Here we go. We're just about to come to the end of the year. This first day of the reading is going to be for December 27th, and we go all the way to January 2nd. So January 1st is a Wednesday, and we're at Friday. So yeah, let's see what this transition will be like. We're going to be going through the new moon at the 30th of December. So we're just in the end of the waning moon. It's going to begin to wax, which is great for the new year. It's like whatever someone decides is their New Year's resolution or wish, whatever it is that you would like to see change through this transition of letting go of the old and going into the new. So let's see what the Pythia Tarot has to say for this week. So here's the first card. It's the Four of Fire. This is batons. This is letting us know that joy and happiness are on the menu. We've got Three of Swords. This is kind of an admonishment or warning or um, view to, hey, look, when your mind gets involved with things, you can get into arguments and disputes, which means you can hurt in different ways someone else, not physically. This is not about physical hurt, even though it is swords. It's about, when people say my feelings are hurt, there's no way to hurt a feeling because our feelings are the five senses. You can hurt someone physically, but you can't hurt a feeling. But we do use that expression. And that's usually when we take things personally. When we take things personally, that's usually about everything that goes on in the mind. So it's a good idea to keep your mind in check for the new year. You know, practice meditation, practice knowing, hey, can my feelings be hurt? No, they can't. It's only if I've taken something personally. And if I take something personally, that means that came before anyone ever said anything. Yes. And, ooh, so this is the 10 of Swords. So, yeah, so we're really focusing here. This is in this new year, the cards are telling us it's a good time to um, break down the oppressiveness of the mind. It's a great opportunity to reduce or to let go. So we've got the waning moon, we're going into the waxing moon. Whatever could trouble us might accelerate, but this is a good time to go, wait a minute. Whatever's going on in my mind isn't necessarily reality. And I'm talking about thoughts, random thoughts, silly things that we think. I'm not talking about true use of the mind, right? When we use our thinking faculty is how do I figure out how to bake this cake? How do I figure out how to split the atom? How do I figure out this physics example? How do I figure out how to train my bird, which I still haven't done? Kind of let him be free so he trains me instead. So yeah, there's a lot of little things that we can examine that way that are the thinking faculty. But thoughts are very different when the mind starts to run amok and we believe we are whatever the contents of the mind is. The contents of my mind is not a description of me. Who cares about what the contents of our mind is? When we end up contemplating too much what is in our mind, it can make us crazy, much like living on a desert island. If you think of the movie with Tom Hanks, um, Castaway, he created a ball. He took this volleyball, named it Wilson. The company was Wilson for the Wilson volleyballs, and spoke to it. Why would that be part of the movie? Well, it's really important to know if we're alone, we think too much, our thoughts can drive us insane. So, not the most happy introduction to the new year, one could say. But on the other hand, it's a great sign that we are capable in this period of time to reduce the impact of these thoughts on us. Go for a walk, take the joy that comes from this card. How beautiful it is, all the flowers, people getting along, company, joy, warmth, communication, all of that. Forget this stuff where the mind leaves you alone on a desert island dealing with it without any recourse to having someone challenge your thoughts. If somebody challenges you, um, let's say somebody says, I don't think I'm smart enough, they might go, well, you are smart because you've done this, that, and the other thing. And now you need to just go out and develop those aspects that you would like to, that you think are not smart enough. Usually we use all these things as an excuse. By the way, swords often represent excuses. I don't want to end on that note. Let's see if there's something else the cards want to tell us. Oh my goodness. So here we've got the hanged man. Well, I think we've got a lot of admonishments and warnings here. The hangman represents the way in which, see those chains, the mind can chain us, right? What did Rousseau say? Man is born free, but everywhere he's in chains. When we chain ourselves to ideas and thoughts, we become imprisoned in those things. And maybe it's time, for 2025 that we free ourselves from the chains of the way we think. If we're not experiencing, happiness and joy, especially at this point, I'm not talking about illness, right? I'm talking about the stuff of the mind, right? Even if someone is physically ill, it doesn't mean our lives need to be miserable, right? I spent many, many years in pain, struggling, unable to walk, and that didn't change that I could still work, that I had purpose, I had meaning. I did what I could do. I made as many jokes as I could make as possible, despite the agony that I was experiencing. And I wasn't hiding anything. I wasn't covering up with humor. I was just, I had my moments of being horrible and whining and, crying or whatever. Crying really helped too. But living my life with meaning. It wasn't the only thing. You could succumb to your illness. You could succumb to your mind, or you can find ways to make choices that say, well, the mind isn't the most important thing. Even if I just play with my pet for a moment, or I enjoy a movie, or I do something. So this year is a good year to think about, when is your mind doing what it's supposed to do, like your thinking faculty, and when is the mind just this kind of thing that's all around us with a bunch of thoughts in it that I don't need to even focus on. I don't even need to look at them. I could just clear them out. How do I clear them out? Silence, walking, meditation, exercise, um, having good company, uh, and really, I think that part of our time right now is, this huge narcissistic bent, even in the, you know, era of, let's say, new age or spiritual. People have become super centered on themselves. It's one of the plights I've had with tarot readings and, energy work. It's like thinking too much about oneself. I find those people have the hardest time. And you don't need to think that much about yourself. One of the things that really helps is to think about someone else. Think about someone else's difficulty. Like, go help and volunteer with people, for people that are in need. That kind of thing is so beautiful to help you out of, I'm the one who's suffering alone. We are all suffering in some way, every single one of us. It's how you approach it, right? It's how you deal with it. And you don't need your mind. That's what these cards are showing us, to get you down. And by the way, the tarot taught me this as well over the years. When my mind would get bogged down and I'd look at the cards and it would be swords, swords, swords. They are not nice cards. And it would bother me that there were so many swords. So I would work it through till finally there were not as many swords in my readings, for myself. Yeah, this is global. I don't really get swords that often anymore. I usually get things that have to do with solving particular things in life or coming up with new ideas. This kind of reading that I'm looking at right now feels so antiquated. I haven't seen one like this in a long time. It's like, find what makes you happy and stop focusing on the mind. Now, we could also look at I'm not using that many cards for these readings, which maybe I need to evolve these videos and do more. I'm not exactly sure what people want to hear yet. There are people who are listening. I only have a few people who follow, but they're listening and they like them. And then there are many others um, who make no comments. Many. I've got what, I don't know, 40, 50 people following, so it's not too many people. But I'd love to hear what you have to say if you want me to look at something else or you have a question about the reading that I've done. So, with that in mind, this is the turn of the year. Time to turn a new leaf. Do something like from the most incapable. Like, let's say I was talking to a person like I was before I had my surgery, where my body was not functioning. I would find something, even if it was just laying down. I don't know if you've heard of block therapy, but wow, it's so wonderful. It actually saved me. I have this, it's this bamboo block, and I lie on it and I do my breathing. I would put it between my legs, on the thigh area to help, the muscular system. And really, it did help me a lot. Here's Bird coming for a little visit. It did help me a lot. It doesn't look like I was doing very much. I still use it every day. It doesn't look like you're doing very much. It doesn't look like you're interacting. But even if you have minimal capacity, find something, even if it is just breathing a little deeper than you usually do, or um, when the body mind is overwhelmed, one of the wonderful things to do is get under a heavy blanket, those weighted blankets, and cover your eyes so you're not seeing any light, and you're reducing all of the sensory input. And you would be amazed how much your mood will improve, how you'll feel way more rested. There are just so many things that we can do. And then if you're someone who just has a really overactive imagination, but your mind is going all over the place and you're critiquing and it talks really quickly, sure, there's that possible. I'm giving you a spectrum now, from the worst to someone who's in great condition and your mind overworks. Well, why don't you start thinking about, okay, when I'm thinking, I have all these thoughts going around, try and just look at them. That's what meditation is. You just see them, but you don't attach, which means don't take it personally. The contents of your mind isn't about you. It's not about you at all. All right. I hope that helps for the new year. I wish you all a wonderful new year, another wonderful uh, time to reflect on, maybe gratitude that can also help us in so many ways, is being grateful for what we do have, right? So when I when I couldn't move, I would focus on what I was grateful for, that I could actually sit for 3, 4 hours a day and be able to work. I was grateful that phones had been invented, smartphones had been invented, so that I could lay down and put my legs in these very strange positions to reduce the pain, and then I could continue working on my phone. And that meant I was able to have a livelihood. I was able to have an interest. I was able to have a meaning for myself. So there are a lot of things that we can be grateful for. And most of you who really do have a lot, there are so many people who have um, plenty on the planet. It's being grateful for what we do have. It's so important. Gratitude being the antidote to resentment is so important. All right. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. All the best to everyone. Bye. See you on the flip side. January 2025 is coming.